Spectacular here. I want to thank our hosts, Joe Madved from SoftBank Capital, and our co-hosts who helped rally the troops, Rob Vorhoff, Jeff Silverman, Taylor Davidson, and Steve Schlafman. And welcome everybody here to the New Orleans Demo Day up here in New York. How many people in the room have been to New Orleans? All right, a lot of people. We're New Orleans fans. What are some of the things you think of when you go to New Orleans?
Food.
Food, I heard food. Yeah, so we're going to hear today from some of the emerging sectors in New Orleans, and these are businesses that make a lot of sense to be coming out of New Orleans. So I want to share a little bit about what's going on in New Orleans. One of the experiences around food is going to great restaurants. And going to great restaurants, one of the things you experience in New Orleans is terrific service. So one of the companies you'll hear from today is actually a restaurant training application that came out of New Orleans because New Orleans is known for great service, and this is a business that is growing, expanding, and going to go all over the country with a restaurant training application called Sidework. To share a couple of things about why New Orleans is starting to compete as a tech ecosystem. Number one, we have a very unique problem set. The businesses that are being formed in New Orleans are based on unique experiences, things that the city is going through. So where in Silicon Valley you're seeing a lot of food delivery apps to get a burrito faster, you're really seeing unique businesses coming out of New Orleans, just like you're seeing in New York. Another dynamic place is the brain game. There's been tremendous growth in talent in New Orleans over the last 5 years. The Teach for America influx, now Venture for America, that's bringing a lot of people, and we're actually seeing a lot of mid-level executives that are moving to New Orleans as well. We're seeing a lot of tech-enabled businesses, so this is something that's going on all around the country, particularly outside of Silicon Valley. The whole kind of Mark Andreessen's software is eating the world. A lot of businesses are being impacted by software right now, so we're seeing tech-enabled businesses and industries happening in New Orleans. And then bike lanes. One of the things that economic developers like to talk about are the tax credits. There are very important tax credits that are driving software development and other industries, but the quality of life is really what's bringing people there. People are moving to New Orleans based on the bike lanes that are being built. The region, the Bywater, that's sort of the Brooklyn of New Orleans, and people are moving back. There's really high quality of life and lifestyle that's truly bringing talent to New Orleans. So let's talk about some of the industries that are happening in the sectors that we're seeing emerge in New Orleans. As I mentioned, food and culinary arts, that's something we all think of and associated with New Orleans. There's a couple startups in this space. Arts, music, culture, that's all going digital. So from filmmaking to music, we're seeing a lot of applications in those sectors. Healthcare and education are two industries that are really being disrupted right now by software and technology. Particularly education, I'd like to highlight for New Orleans. We have there was a complete shutdown of the education system post-Katrina. The public education system completely shut down. We have an all-charter school network. So all of a sudden, that combined with the talent of the Teach for America students, Teach for America fellows, teachers who are moving in, many have gone on to become entrepreneurs. So there's a tremendous ed tech movement happening right now. I'm predicting the next thing we're going to see is the big industries, the big traditional industries in New Orleans, energy, the port. Those are going to have software and technology impact them as well. We're going to see businesses come out along those lines. So let's talk about a couple of the businesses that have been started in New Orleans. And again, the unique problem set. So there was a gentleman who wanted to put on a concert during Jazz Fest, and he wanted to host a concert at the CAC, and to get the band to come play the concert, he had to have a certain amount of money. He didn't have that money, so he wanted to raise that money to host the concert. So he thought to himself, you know what, if I could just pre-sell the tickets, if I could, it's a great band, if I could just pre-sell tickets, it would be awesome and I could host this concert. So Harry Chen went on to start this company. This was 6 or 7 years ago. We all know the story of Kickstarter and what that's gone on to. So this is a New Orleans story, as well as a New York story. And it also shows the importance of the connection between New Orleans and New York. About 3 years later, a gentleman named Patrick Momer, who went to Columbia Business School, then went out to LA, had a career in LA, and moved to New Orleans, started a market research firm, market research software company based in New Orleans called Federated Sample. He started in Launchpad, had one co-working desk in Launchpad, raised a seed round of capital. Out of Launchpad, we pitched Steve Schlafman back there. Went on to raise a Series A round that was led by a New York VC firm. And now this is a New Orleans company, about 45 employees, well on its way. And the difference is that this company is able to be based in New Orleans. So we're going to see companies that come out of New Orleans that use New Orleans as a laboratory, as a launch pad, so to speak, and then it's in the best interest of the companies to go on to be in New York, or go on to be in Silicon Valley, and we're going to see companies that are able to stay in New Orleans. The connection here, and also a little bit of the difference, is when Perry was in New Orleans, the only organization that existed on this slide was Idea Village. Idea Village worked with entrepreneurs at that time. Now there is an entire ecosystem supporting entrepreneurs, much like has happened in New York. This has all blossomed in the last 5 years. So we have all these co-working spaces, accelerators, 4.0 schools, focused on specifically on education and also incubating charter schools. And we actually have investment capital that's beginning to flow in New Orleans. One of our strategies, our key strategies as far as investment capital, is matching local angel investors, local early stage investors with investment capital from out of state, from New York, from Silicon Valley. And we think that's going to be a very important strategy to capitalize the companies that are coming out of New Orleans. So to get involved with New Orleans, I'll give you a couple things to follow. Obviously Launchpad, which is our organization, and the accelerator and many of the companies that you'll see today. Idea Village, which is another very important organization, you can follow them. Silicon Bayou News, I'll post this online so you don't have to jot notes, and we'll send this around afterwards. And I did this in Comic Sans for a reason. Hopefully everybody's able to take notes of the terrible font. These are two events where you can come down to New Orleans. New Orleans Entrepreneur Week is sort of the Mardi Gras of entrepreneurship. A great week where entrepreneurs and MBA students from all over the country descend on New Orleans for sort of a spring break. This is a week run by the Idea Village. And then we host Launchfest. Launchfest is strategically placed on the Thursday before the second weekend of Jazz Fest. So any interested VCs can now come down to Jazz Fest and write off their trip by coming to Launchfest as well as Jazz Fest and participating and taking a look at some of the startups that are happening in New Orleans. And then we go on to do a roadshow. So we were out in San Francisco 2 weeks ago with these companies, and now we're here in New York for our New York demo day. And again, we really appreciate everybody coming out today. And we're excited to hear from the startups today. So a little bit of format. We have 8 companies. They're going to give 5-minute presentations. We're going to hold them to time because we know everybody is on a schedule and needs to get to work this morning. Again, we really appreciate everybody coming out today. In terms of any logistics, if you'd like to get on the Wi-Fi, here's the Wi-Fi network password. If you're tweeting, we love people tweeting. The Twitter handles are on your chair, and you can tweet with this hashtag. There are restrooms down the hall. Feel free to get up and grab a drink or coffee or bagel if you haven't had to your fill. And with that, we're going to kick it off. And I believe Staff Insight and Chris Labe is our first founder. So Chris, if you come on up and kick us off today.